Okay, Apple tomorrow. We might as well touch on that. It got downgraded again. It's like a pile on now. OPI today, they cut it to perform from outperform. They removed their target. You obviously have a lot of questions about iPhone demand. Now, this stock's actually held up pretty well lately, for sure, as you know, it's largely been out of the fray of DeepSeek and all that. We want to bring in our Bill Baruch right now because he got a move we want to tell you about. He bought more Apple. Why'd you do that now ahead of earnings?
Well, you know, I talked about on the show, we ended up trimming Apple the first day of the year. And last week on the show, I talked about moving into the 200-day moving average. It's falling out of love. And that's when you really want to think about buying Apple. What really did it for me on Monday when we pulled the trigger on this was the entire tech space was getting bludgeoned. Apple was turning positive, and it told me from a relative strength space, this is now ready to not go down anymore. So we leaned into Apple and started allocating back into it Monday morning.
All right. So, I mean, where are your expectations going into the print? I don't know. Maybe, you know, you'd say, well, the questions about demand are in the stock, but is that really true? And the stock's been, if you look at the chart once again more recently, it's been pretty good.
Yeah, and I do agree with that. Now, the thing here is the iPhone 16 sales, they've had certainly a negative impact. So how much of that is already being priced in with this thing fell 15% from its highs? I think there's two things, that being one and the other being flows. At the end of the year, there was actually big selling pressure the last couple of days and then the first week of the year. I think there's different flows, some rebalancing flows. So I think at the end of the day, this thing is washed out, a couple of narratives, and I'm expecting to see a decent report, but I also think that a lot of the sellers have already sold. And I'm a big believer, you know, in that sense of from a flow standpoint and from a supply-demand technical standpoint.
So you bought, oh wait, you're selling all of Dell. That's
yes.
Interesting. Why are you doing that?
Well, we sold all of Dell. As we moved into quarter four, the second half of last year, we owned more names than we typically do, 42 names in our equity portfolio. That was to avoid idiosyncratic risks. A name like Dell fit the bill because we didn't know where the puck was going in AI next, and we wanted to have some exposure there. I think here, getting rid of it hasn't performed. It's had a couple of decent earnings reports, but it has not come through with price action for us. So we thought this was a really good opportunity this week to move away from it and set the stage for some buying opportunities that we'll get to next.
All right, good stuff. Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Yep.
That's Bill Baruch.